Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the Ver months and welcome to Orilium autumn semester. I am really excited. I really needed it in August because my reading has been total crap since the last semester. So here's me praying to the book gods to please bring me a good autumn semester at Orilium because I have been in a slump since last April. Orilium, if you don't know, is a wonderful readathon hosted in the fantasy world of Eldia and actually hosted by G over at Book Roast. I will leave a link below. It is a big readathon. So please join us if you want. It might seem a little intimidating at first, but she has a great video set up exactly for beginners and you really can jump in at any semester. Might be a little trickier in autumn because you now are taking your exams, which I'll explain in a sec, but you can totally do it. I have faith in you. But here we are, and here's my Orilium TBR. Let's get into the books. If you saw the stack, you know it's a big one. I have taken on 3 callings, or as I think of them, just like majors, because I'm stupid. And you know what? I've been in a reading slump since last Orilium. I've barely been hitting double digits since then per month. So I'm actually scared for the very first time, first semester of Orilium. I also noticed, as I'm surrounded by these books that I've selected, they're all fantasy for the most part. I usually break it up with thrillers, and I really didn't plan this out. So here we go, yay me. Okay, my first calling is Beastmaster. Basically, you connect with animals, you're really good with them. You're the one who if there's an injured animal out there, you go out and you help them, that kind of thing. You are supposed to be nurturing and protective and gentle and on my good days, I am those things. I'm a mom, comes the territory. So this is what I've been from the very start of this readathon. Last semester, you just had to read 1 book per course. This semester, we're taking our exams. For your exams, you in each class will have to get either an O, a Q, or a D in order to pass those courses, which means you'll need to read 1, 2, or 3 books, basically. O is for ordinary, Q is for qualified, and D is for distinguished. So for Beastmaster, I need an O, that's 1 book, in Elemental Studies, and we are learning Gust of Longing, which basically means I need to pick a book that has my favorite scent in the title, cover, or author's name. I know, right? Well, I am as basic as it comes. In case you could tell, I'm a fall girly. If you've watched my channel at all at any point, probably in any single video, you know this by now. So, yeah. Can you guess where we're headed? You probably can. It's pumpkin spice. Yeah, I'll deviate to lemon and lavender occasionally, but no. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe is the book I will be reading for this. Did I already get my first PSL? Yes, although I am really digging the apple for September and then I go pumpkin. I know, blasphemy. I know. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe is by Lori Gilmore. The sequel, I think, is coming out. How cute is this cover? By the way, this month or next month, but this is about Jeannie and when her aunt gifts her the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, as you may have guessed, in the town of, wait for it, Dream Harbor. She jumps at the chance, and who would not, to get away from her boring old desk job. And who is she going to meet there but her paramour, of course. We've got a grumpy sunshine romance. She's going to use her happy-go-lucky attitude to win over the local farmer. I can't make this up. Logan, who of course is all Mr. grumpy, avoiding gossip, and her arrival disrupts his routine and he wants nothing to do with this girl. He finds her super upbeat, sunshiny attitude really irritating. Wow, he'd hate me too. And yet somehow he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Sorry, Logan, I'm taken. The question on the back of the book is, has the city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charms and her pumpkin spice lattes? I'm gonna guess no, but there is a sequel, so what do I know? How cute is this? I even broke out, just to show you, some of my favorite candles. We've got the Black Flame candle by my favorite candle maker, Teresa Lynn's. These are all artisan made and they've got those wood wicks so they crackle. These are old, that's why they look kind of weird. Don't buy them in bulk. They do this weird separating thing. The only candles I can burn have to have all natural oils because I get really bad migraines. But here's my husband's favorite. If you don't get the reference, don't tell me because I will feel really sad and really old. Next up is animal studies, and I need to read 3 books for this. I need to be ordinary, qualified, and distinguished. So here we go. First, I need to find a book with a phoenix on the cover or in the title. And like the rest of the people in the whole entire world, I will be reading The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous edition from Illumicrate. I just unboxed this not that long ago, and I am super freaking excited to read this book. G said it was good, so fingers crossed. This is about Ayla, and she has always dreamed of being a phoenix keeper, saving the phoenixes, and when she gets a job at her local zoo, it's like, hey, my dreams are coming true. She becomes like the head zookeeper for the phoenixes. She's like, one more step on my way, and then there's like a phoenix heist at the next zoo over, and it disrupts their phoenix breeding program, and their slightly derelict zoo suddenly has to host the breeding stuff. This is not great for her because their zoo's not really ready for it, but she has to prove that it totally is, and she needs like the help of patrons and other people, and she's great with phoenixes but sucks with people. This is a problem. You know who'd be great at helping her with this? The hotshot Phoenix Keeper, who also happens to be her old rival from college. Yikes. And she's totally gorgeous. The only problem with Luciana is like she's kind of this know-it-all and also kind of thinks phoenixes. Do they need to do all this preservation work, or would they just be better like entertaining people in a sideshow? Yeah, I would have a problem with that attitude too. So I feel like they have some stuff to work through before they like fall for one another. But you know, I guess we're gonna watch that happen, as Ayla has the whole world watching, and now she's got like an entire species depending on her, because she's going to be keeper of all the phoenixes forever. Not just at her zoo, but she has to breed them all now too. To have fun and good luck, and we're rooting for your romance too, I think. Luciana kind of sounds mean, but the mean ones are usually really hot, so. Don't talk to me about healthy romances in books. I don't usually root for them. Okay, next up for Q qualified in animal studies is Shadow Misties. They sound really cute and petable. So I need to find a standalone for this. I'm so excited. I haven't even technically unboxed this yet, but it's here from Waterstones. It's their exclusive edition. It's signed, and I am not waiting to read this puppy because Ava Reid is one of my favorite authors. I freaking flipped out over Study in Drowning last year. So I am assuming Lady Macbeth is going to do the same for me, because you give me an author who basically I think writes absolute poetry on the page and gave us one of the most brilliantly crafted stories that was so much bigger than itself and was so symbolic, and I don't care if it wasn't. Let me have my moment. And then you let her take a riff on Lady Macbeth, who's written by frickin' Shakespeare and is one of the most well-known, possibly greatest villainesses of all time, in Scotland. I don't even need to give you the summary. You want the summary, don't you? First, let me show you this book. This is the Waterstones edition. I don't know if there's gonna be other fancy editions, but like, I bought it because it read. I guess that's the only super fancy thing about it. The end pages and the cover change and the sprayed edges, but it's fine! Basically, the premise here, if you don't know what Macbeth is, that's the one where like, we've got the king who gets the prophecy from like double toil and trouble with 3 witches, and they're like, you'll be fine. You cannot be killed by like man born of woman, and like, he's like, cool, I'm gonna be king forever, only like, every witches kind of really screw him, but it's Lady Macbeth who's like, we should do all this stuff. Get the crown. She's in charge. All right, we all saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The man might be the head, but the woman is the neck that turns the head. So Lady Macbeth already knows that there's stories going around about her, right? She's got eyes that induce madness and then and stuff. She knows that she's going to be married to this man who's like basically, from what she knows, a Scottish brute. She does not expect him to be kind or gentle with her, not in the bedroom, not in any way, shape, or form. She expects his court to be ruthless and dangerous, and she expects to need all of her wiles about her to survive in his court, including her hidden witchcraft. She does not know her husband also has occult secrets. She does not know that there's a prophecy that's girding him like an armor. You do. I already told you about the prophecy. And she does not know that her magic is greater, more dangerous, and will threaten the order of the world. That she will. I am so excited to read this. And then D, to distinguish, we need Recognizing Morphs, a book that had a cover change. Some of my choices were incredibly random. This is a great example of that. Wildfire. I realized as I was organizing my shelves, I did not get to this summer. And I was so excited to read this summer because it takes place at a summer camp. Technically, the beginning of September is still summer. We're just gonna like read this This is by Hannah Grace, and this is about a girl named Aurora. It takes place in Maple Hills, same place that Icebreaker took place in. It's part of like a little series that takes place there. And at the end of the year, there's this big party. She has this one night stand with this guy named Russ. And at like end of the night, she just just sneaks on out. You know, never gonna see him again. It does not matter, except, oh, wait. A few days later, they turn out to be camp counselors together, stick together for an entire summer. They both want to escape complicated home lives. Guess you're gonna have a complicated camp life, especially because there's a very strict no camp counselors dating one another rule. Define dating for me. Oh, it's this fraternizing. That covers it all, doesn't it? Dang, I thought I had a loophole for you, Russ, because apparently he is a rule follower, but you know what? Aurora, she isn't. How cute is this? This is the probably smut edition. Yeah, it's super cute. Trying to, yeah. And then the last one, I think it's called like Daydream by Hannah Grace. That just came out, and probably Smut did do this style cover for it too. So, yay, it's purple, it's adorable. After this, I need an alchemy, so just one book. Apparently, in alchemy, we're studying chemical breakdown, a book that's going to make me emotional. So, yeah, this has been a terrible year. I can't handle many emotions from books right now. So you know what emotion I picked? Blessed. My favorite why choose author is Devin Sinclair. I chose Beautiful Beast. Yeah, I did. This is her take on dragons. One human. I'm pretty sure there's going to be multiple dragons. This is about a princess who really does not want to marry this prince. He's vicious, he's dragon hunting, he seems pretty freaking mean, but marrying him is going to mean saving her people from deadly famine or death by fire. So she's like, cool. And then before she can like say her vows to this monster, dragons come flying on down and they're headed straight for her, and she's like, great, well, you know what, I'm going to die now instead of get married. What a great day this is for me, only the flames don't come. The dragon's eyes are apparently hungry not to eat her in that way, but snatch her away. 3 dragons, that's right, 3 of them. It's usually 3 with Devin Sinclair, and they're not what she's been taught they are. Can you guess what happens? It doesn't say they're shifters, but I mean, you never know. Monster romances are a thing. I'm not going to put words in Devin Sinclair's mouth, but I'm going to take a wild guess here. We're going to have a good time. After this, Restoration. We needed to find a night sky on the cover. You know what? I've never read anything by Erin Morgenstern, which is just embarrassing at this point. And if you're going to read her, I feel like fall is the time. So I could do the Night Circus. I totally could. That also has the night sky in it. I grabbed the Starless Sea just because I just finished a book that took place at sea and it was really good. So I'm still feeling those vibes. And I'm kind of feeling like I have a whole bunch of books that take place in circuses that might just be like a video. Dun, 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 circus. I don't know. Do I know a ton about this book? Not really. This is like about a guy who ends up wandering into the stacks in like his library, and he wanders down to this mysterious door in his library, and all of a sudden he finds like the story to his own childhood or something, and it has like a bee and a key on it. There's always a bee and a key, but apparently this is saying there's a sword too. No one ever talks about the sword. Sure, cool, fine. But apparently this book leads Zachary to 2 people who will change the course of his life. Mirabelle, who is this like fierce pink-haired painter, and Dorian, a handsome barefooted man who's got shifting alliances. I don't know who else he's allying himself with. So far we've heard of 2 living people in this description, but sure, fine, whatever. The book sounds great. It sounds super atmospheric. It sounds delightful. We've got gilded ballrooms, wine-dark shores, a world soaked with romance and mystery and all these wonderful things. But apparently there is a battle raging over the fate of this entire place, because some people would sacrifice everything to save it and others are bent on its destruction. These 3 apparently are going deeper into this place's histories and myths, searching for answers and one another in a story that casts spells with pirates, painters, lovers, liars, and ships that sail upon the Starless Sea. Look, from what I've heard, this is like all vibes, and this either works for you or it doesn't. So am I nervous? Yes, given my absolute disastrous reading slumps that have been going on. It sounds like a very me kind of book. But am I terrified? Also yes, but I have the pretty copy, and I really want to read the pretty copy. If this fails, we can try the Night Circus. If that fails, it's not like there aren't a crap ton of books with the night sky on them. Someone tell me I'm going to love those books, please. Okay, and I also need restoration. That's my O. I need a Q. So I also need dangerous plants. And I know what you're thinking. Wisteria. No, my copies are not here and are not arriving yet because I had to get fancy copies because I'm me. So we're going with another book that I'm so excited to read that I own 3 copies of it. Wren in the Holly Library. And in case you're wondering, yes, holly is indeed poisonous. The berries contain a toxin called saponin, which is poisonous to both humans and pets, and can cause vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, drowsiness, dehydration, and in some cases, death. I sound like a commercial. You're welcome. So, The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. I am really excited for this one. This is about a girl who lives in this like post-apocalyptic New York-ish world. It's sort of been like basically taken over by monsters, and they have this very like crappy-ish like peace treaty with the monsters. It's hanging on by a thread, basically. The monsters are in charge. They know it. And we've got our little Wren. She's not a bird, okay? She's a human being. And she's about to break this tenuous little treaty by breaking into a library. That's a choice, Kirsha. Like, I hope it's really worth it, my little street urchin thief. She gets caught immediately. And the monster in there, yeah, he's within his rights to just, like, end her, pretty much. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a choice. I could do that, or I could hire you for a job. And that job specifically is going to allow you to discover why you're a little like stronger, faster, better at all this stuff than everyone else. Also, he is drop dead, gorgeous, tall, dark, handsome, and seductive. So why do you think I'm reading this book? After this, we get to switch majors. I'm heading into Wild Form Druid, which is basically a more extensive version of Beastmaster, but like in addition to being like super affiliated with animals, you get like a little familiar and you can like learn to turn into an animal, which is kind of cool. Would I turn into something fierce and exciting? No, I'd probably turn into like a little deer and run into the road at an inconvenient time because that is the way my life is going this year. So I am not doubling up on prompts if they recur because now you have to read multiple books for things. So yeah, won't be doing that. For this, I need animal studies. I just need to own that. So Phoenix Keeper, Phoenix on the cover and title. I also need a Q, which was Shadow Misties. That's our standalone. And I also need D, Recognizing Morphs. That was a book that had cover change. See what I mean by the overlapping here. Next, I need a Q in Art of Illusion. Here's where things diverged. For O, image generation is what we are learning. I need to use a random emoji generator, generate an emoji. Apparently this is a thing you can do. And use that to inspire a read. So we ended up at codebeautify.org. So I guess we want all emojis. Generate. Aquarius? Aquarius. You know what? There's one book I didn't get to in August that takes place on the sea that I'm really bummed that I didn't get to. I feel like that would count, right? Right? Not and say yes. So I was really bummed. I finished like half the books I was hoping to read in August. I did not get to The Call of the Sea by Kate Schumacher. This is the Grail Cycle one. I didn't even realize had multiple books, but this could work for Aquarius, right? There's freaking mermaids and like ocean. I don't know how to interpret this. This is an interesting one. This is like a new take on Arthurian legends. This is about Jennifer. Basically, she has magic, but if anyone knew that, she'd be like bound to a stake and left for food, like in the ocean. Doesn't that sound like a nice end? So she's hiding that. Solid choice, Jennifer. But she's also secretly wielding magic in private with a pirate named Orides Merlini, whatever, is the Merlin figure in this book. But you know what? She kind of gets caught up in her lies that she's been telling to hide everything and winds up stuck marrying a man she does not love. Next we have Arthur, and his last name is Tregarthen in this one. The names are delightful in here. He does not want to be a leader, but he is the son of the chief, so guess what he gets to be. But when he has this chance meeting with this magic wielder, this guy's like, hey, guess what? You know, you're hiding stuff from your dad. He's hiding stuff from you too. Here's all the stuff you didn't know about your past. Why am I making everything sound like a game show tonight? I don't know. So we've got all these moving parts, and then we have the one final piece of the puzzle, which is a witchfinder tricking Jennifer into revealing that she has magical powers, and somehow this propels her, Arthur, and the Merlin figure into these games that have apparently been eons in the makings. I don't think they mean Monopoly either. And now somehow it falls to them to make decisions that will shape the rest of the world forever and ever, because that's how these books go. But look how pretty. So the wildest description of an Arthurian retelling I've ever heard. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to read this. The mood I was in had me reading A Ship of Bones and Teeth instead. Not sorry, FYI. Like, my review on that. After that, I need my cue. So for this, you need a prequel. And I was like, I hate prequels. I just read the only prequel I have on my shelves, which was Bookshops and Bone Dust. So yay for me. But then I realized I am actually reading a prequel series, which I like better than the original series. And that is Jennifer L. Armentrout's prequel series, A Flesh and Fire series. This is the second one in the series. This will be A Light and the Flame. I can't tell you a ton about this one. First book in this series was A Shadow in the Ember, and this explores the whole idea of like maidens and primals, which were like their idea of gods, and she's supposed to like basically be the bride's one, and hers never shows up, and like everyone's like, oh my god, you're defective, and then he finally does, and it's this enemies to lovers thing, and it sort of explores where the idea of the blood and ash maiden comes to be, and their whole like untouched maiden covered in veils lore starts. And I honestly think that this is so much more interesting, and there's like all these hints to like Greek lore and Persephone and Hades and all these things, and I am really curious to see where the second one goes. The first one ended up on kind of a big cliffhanger between Sarah and her paramour. She was very bent on betraying him in the first one. And then there's like a third guy who's kind of like, are we going like throuple? So let's find out. Do I think that these are the best books in the world? No. Do I think I fly through them and generally find them entertaining? Yes. JLA may not be the best writer in the world, but she is fun to read. After that, I will be studying astronomy. I just need an O, so one little book, and we're studying one constellation in particular, the Cradle constellation. So I just need to read a book that was released in my birth month, and I picked a book that was released last month, Apprentice to the Villain. This is by Hannah Nicole Mayer. The first one was Assistant to the Villain, in which our gal Evie gets hired to be an assistant to the villain. And it's like in an office setting. She's supposed to be like filing paperwork, setting meetings, you know, making sure he has all that he needs to do his dastardly evil deeds, and handle like the paperwork. There's emails. There's pamphlets. There's stuff to do behind the scenes. Occasionally there will be a, you know, dead body on her table, but you know, she can handle these things. And all of those things were very, you know, clearly indicated when she took the job. So she knew what she was getting into. However, the villain was very good looking. So not only did she get a promotion from, you know, assistant to apprentice, there may or may not be a promotion from like stranger to not stranger. Something more going on as well. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. Also, the frog is my favorite character in the series. He's hilarious, and he holds up these little signs because he can't talk. That's how he communicates, and I love him with my whole heart. So after that, it was restoration again. We've already talked about my O, which was Night Dew, Night Sky in the Cover, which Starless Sea, and then Q, which was Dangerous Plants, which was Wren in the Holly Library, and then I needed a D for this one. That sounds dirty. D for distinguished. And in this one, we are learning quick action in crisis. The title has to have a verb. For this, I picked Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Frida Abike Ayimedi. This is the girl who wrote Ace of Spades. This is like another YA, only because of setting, not because of the writing or the subject matter. Dark academia book. That's honestly one of the reasons I'm kind of bummed that we did not do the Orilium Readathon in August, because I love having September to like stretch my legs after all these restraints and go wild with like thrillers, dark academia, anything I want. I usually just go nuts in September because the smell of fall is in the air and I want to like attack every book. But that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. So this is about a girl named Sade, and she is just starting at a new school, although it's like her 3rd year there in like a high school setting, so basically she's like a junior, and she's generally just kind of unlucky, but this is a super exclusive school, her chance to start over. She goes to sleep her first night there, wakes up, her roommate's missing. Okay, bad luck's gonna keep following her. Got it. Now, she doesn't want anyone to be really suspicious about this, but it does attract attention, particularly of the unholy trinity, aka the new mean girls. And they find it somehow in their designer-clad hearts to take her under their wing, and who is she to say no, particularly when one of them, named Persephone, is just especially alluring. Now, our girl is super busy trying to like deflect attention away from her missing roommate because she doesn't want to be blamed for, I don't know, misdeeds, shall we say, and, you know, learning about these new friends, catching up in school, and then all of a sudden no one cares what happened to her roommate, Melissa. She realizes that's also a little sus. So she grabs her bestie Boz and is like, we're gonna investigate. And then a dead body of a student turns up at Nobel Academy. That's the name of the school. I don't think I mentioned that. And that's when she realizes, wow, you know what? I might have some secrets, but they are nothing compared to the ones lurking around the hallways at this school and that belong to the school itself. I'm really looking forward to it. I loved Ace of Spades. My mind was blown when that final reveal happened because I don't watch horror movies or anything, so that whole concept was like, big pardon. So yeah, I imagine I'm going to get thrown for a heck of a loop at the end of this one too, because this author really, really enjoys just making sure I have no even footing at the end of these stories and fall flat on my butt in shock. So can't wait to find out what happens with this one. After this, shape-shifting. I need to get a D for this one, so we're going all the way. Say nothing. First, I will be learning about shifting into inanimate objects. We will be learning about jewelry, how to shift into jewelry. This actually sounds fun and useful. Oh wait, I can't wear myself. I'm going to turn to something, might as well be something pretty, so I'm going to read a book that has jewelry on the cover to learn this, or in the title. I chose a book that has it in the title because finally I'm going to be reading, and yes, this counts as jewelry. Okay, it's jewelry for your hair. Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the sequel to One Dark Window. I absolutely loved this book when I read it 2 years ago. It is the perfect fall read. It is about this girl who is living in this crazy wild world with this amazing magic system. So basically, if you get sick as a kid, you are kind of like off because you're going to gain some kind of magic. No one wants you to have magic in this world because no one knows what kind of form it's going to take on. It could be mild, it could be terrifying. And hers is, well, terrifying, but she's able to hide it. Basically, she has a nightmare that lives in her head. And I do mean a nightmare. It talks to her. It's a beast. It can give her great power in certain times, but she's kind of like losing herself to it. So good times for Elspeth. Meanwhile, the magic system is wild. It's basically run by tarot cards, and there are only so many of them. Like some, there are a fair few of, and their spells are more mild, but the ones at the very top, they can control like all kinds of wild stuff, mind, time. They're very, very powerful. And if you get all of them together, you can basically like control the kingdom. And the first book is kind of like her learning about the cards, and then we also see from the point of view of the prince who's trying to figure out how to rule this world with this wild magic system. And I'm not saying they meet up and there might be a romance, but I'm saying they might meet up and there might be a romance. And this did not come to me until after spooky season, and I was like, I'm just not in the mood. Last year, I'll wait. And apparently we got a book plate instead of actually signing it, and I still can't figure out where to put it appropriately. It is such a pretty edition. Here is one of our tarot cards, and look how pretty. Here are some of our characters. I just love Fairy Loot's character art. Like these pages, boring, but the character art, stunning, right? So very excited to see how this story ends. I hope I remember all the details, but given that I didn't have to look up anything to tell you that except her name, I'm feeling okay. Next up, we will be learning about celestial influence on shapeshifting. Wow, that's really specific. Oh, this prompt just sucked. These next two prompts are basically my villain origin story. This ruined my entire day. And I'm not saying that I waited till August 31st to put this list together, but I waited till August 31st to put this list together because I forced myself into doing this because my goal was to not buy anything for this readathon. Usually I buy like 10 new books. And my goal this year was to not buy one book for this readathon because I have been investing in lots of really beautiful editions now that I'm getting off all these waiting lists. So my goal was to buy nothing and just use what I have. And my God, these 2 prompts. I'm not saying that I've become a swearer in the last couple of years, but had I not, this would have been the moment where I crossed over. Celestial influence on shapeshifting, a planet name in the title. First I was freaking the F out because I forgot Earth is a planet. Then it became like reasonable, but before that, we've got Children of Earth and Sky by Gabriel K. I don't know how I got this book. This is apparently about a coastal town that is notorious for pirates where a young woman wants vengeance for her lost family. And I am assuming lost means like lost. You never know. Apparently, this takes place in spring, and I'm pretty sure she's about to collide with the other 2 people who are mentioned on the back of this book, who come from a wealthy city-state famous for canals and a lagoon. I don't know why that matters. I guess water is very important here. One is a young artist traveling to the dangerous east to paint the Grand Caliph. At his request, it's not like a solicitation thing. He's actually, I guess, really good and possibly to do more. And also a fiercely intelligent, angry young woman posing as a doctor's wife, but actually sent to be a spy. Oh, here's how they meet. They're all on one trading ship, commanded by a nice younger son of a merchant who is totally ambivalent about his life. Awesome. And then apparently there's also going to be a boy who is training to become a soldier in the elite infantry for the Caliph and is desperate to win glory in this impending war that everyone knows is coming. All these lives intertwine, all their fates and those many others hang in the balance when the Caliph sends out his massive army to take the great fortress that is the gateway to the Western world. Grand, sweeping, epic, written by a man, which gives me pause. Do not look at me like that. I have great luck with them sometimes. I am a brandy, sandy girl. Other times, they wind up being kind of violent, and I can't handle them. This was written in 2016. It looks brand new. I don't know where it came from, but I have a backup if it's terrible, and that is I will be breaking my goals not to buy anything, but I loved the 5th season, so I will give myself permission to buy the Obelisk Gate. It kind of fits because this is the Broken Earth series. Apparently that counts. I did borrow it on Libby for free, but I really want to be able to read the beautiful words. And these books are intricate and beautifully written, and they can be complicated, and it's been a little while since I read the first one, so I want to be able to like annotate and like I want to have all 3 of these. I feel like that's okay, especially if I have given this a try and absolutely loathe it. So, and finally, the other book that was just miserable to deal with was Navigation After Transformation, a compass on the cover. Anything I found, they were few and far between, I'd already read. And I don't want to reread anything for this readathon. I feel like that's just not interesting for you to hear about, and it's not interesting for me to do. And I've been dealing with slumps the whole way through. It's just gonna land me there again. So the only thing I found was Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This is by Heather Fawcett. I loved the first book. Okay, that's not the problem here. The problem is I plan on reading this November because this takes place just like fall, heading into those first snows. I want to read it when it takes place. I did that with the first book. I waited and it was so worth it. It was so atmospheric. I had the best time. It was just perfection. I kind of want to do the same thing with this one, but compass. And like this is about Emily Wilde. She goes and she is attempting to write the first encyclopedia of fairies, as you might have guessed in the first book, and she's doing her thing. She's living up in sort of like the Nordic lands where it's very snowy and cold and doing her best. She's not great socially. I mean, she has her dog Shadow with her, whom we absolutely love, but then her like academic rival shows up, and you know what? He is great with people, and he is like making friends with all the villagers, getting all the like fae info from them, and it's basically like an academic rivals to lovers situation, but it's so much more. It's so much more. The writing is great. The twists are great. Everything about this book, everything I could have wanted. It gave me everything and more, the first one. And I know the second one's just going to be just as amazing. So if I start reading it and I'm like, no, I want to wait. I did find a random book I also don't know where it came from. Don't judge me. Called Dark Shores. And it's blurred by Sarah J. Maas. So I stand a chance. It's by Danielle L. Jensen, who wrote Bridge Kingdom series. And like I started reading this and DNF'd it, so that's not a great sign. But I just like I wasn't in the mood for fantasy at the time. I have the whole series. I plan on reading it. So this is totally random. It's obviously like seafaring fantasy, which I would say is usually a disaster for me, but I just finished one that was phenomenal, so we'll see. This is about Tariana. She is second mate on this ship that is beholden to the goddess of the seas, which already has me kind of intrigued, and her people are born of the waves, meaning they're the only ones who know how to cross between the impassable oceans between the east and the west. Already, this sounds pretty good. Why don't I know anything about this series? And then we also have Marcus, who's a soldier with a secret. I'm guessing it's going to be her romantic interest. And he's commander of the 37th, the notorious legion that has led this Selindor empire to conquer the entire East. And the legion is his only family, but apparently he has a secret that he's been hiding since childhood. Ooh. So the story begins when an empire senator discovers the existence of the Dark Shores and captures Tariana's crew and threatens to reveal Marcus's dark secret unless they sail in pursuit of conquest, forcing the two into an unlikely and unwilling alliance. For how long? Yeah, okay. So they unite for the sake of their families, but both have to decide how far they are willing to go. Oh, come on, the joke writes itself. I'm not going to even say it. And how much they are willing to sacrifice. I hated Daughter of the Pirate King, which is listing as something, if you like it, you like this. But I haven't read To Kill a Kingdom or Seafire, so we'll see. And finally, my last major, if you will, is Thread Mage. Basically, put emotions and magic into fabric and clothing. And it's basically like the live embodiment of the fragile enchantment magic, which I still haven't read. I have a dress to match that dang book, but we'll get there. So I need Q and Alchemy. We've already got that. That's Chemical Breakdown. Read that will make me emotional. I'm going to feel very lustful reading my Why Choose Dragon book. For Q, that's new. We need to learn Component Reconstruction. That is a book that was traditionally published after being self-published, and I love seeing these books so much. I actually have a surprising amount that I could choose from, but I went with A Dark Academia. I've been meaning to read for a very, very long time, The Atlas Six by Olive E. Blake. No, I haven't read this. I haven't even read A Deadly Education, which is just embarrassing at this point as well, but at least we're getting this one on here. This is for anyone who is devastated that the Library of Alexandria has burnt down and is still not over it. Like, you heard about it, it's been gone forever, and it's devastated you ever since. This is for you. So in this world, it didn't burn down. Instead, each decade, 6 of the most talented magicians are given a chance to earn a place in the Alexandrian society. And you can kind of guess where they'll be and what they're doing in said society. It is the most secret society in the whole wide world. You get the picture. They get to live a life of power and prestige, but the cost, oh man. Each of these 6 recruits has enemies and a reason for accepting their invitation, and will absolutely fight tooth and nail for their spot. But here's the catch, there aren't 6 spots. Not everyone gets to join the Alexandrian Society. Not everyone is surviving. I know you hear more from some than from others, but what is really fun in this edition, you actually get illustrations of the 6. So very much looking forward to reading this. Finally, I know, the whole series is like, I don't know though, so if I love it, at least I can finish it, right? I will also be taking spells and incantations. I need a Q in this. So for O, I'll be learning a charm, Dancing Stars. I needed to pick a 5-star protection, and for this one, I chose Fyrebirds. This is by KJ Armstrong. This is the sequel to Nightbirds. I was so obsessed with this book last year. I'm still so obsessed with this book. It is this magical, amazing book about these beautiful girls who have these magical powers and they can share them for one night via a kiss. But they wear masks. It's kind of like this glammed up brothel-esque situation, except you can't steal a kiss. You have to be like super high in society to be able to afford a kiss, and it's just a kiss. It's by choice. These girls choose to like join the society. It's not super sketchy. Except there's like this religious uprising who believes there shouldn't be such a thing as magic, and you know, they're against it, especially because women are wielding this magic, and you know, they start to realize, wow, there's probably something really wrong with this society, and maybe they're lying to us about our powers and magic in general. And yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. You had this glittering, glamorous, beautiful ballroom-esque society that has this like, it's supposed to be sort of Great Gatsby-ish. It felt more Gilded Age to me. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. The writing was incredible. You had the range of characters from like straight urchin whose ex was like the leader of a gang to like this poor girl who came from like a little island off the coast and was like half terrified of her magic, to this girl who was part of the upper echelon of society and was refusing to take her place by marrying a man, and really was like, yeah, I want my magic. It was so good. I can't wait to see how the series ends. I'm like pretty positive it's only a duology, so I'm pretty dang confident it's gonna be 5 stars. She would have to trip pretty hard over the finish line to mess up everything that she set up in the first book. And then to get to Q, the spell I need is Memory Clip. So a book shown in any of Book Roast videos. So for this one, this was pretty much a no-brainer. I knew I was fitting it in somewhere because I'm not waiting any longer to read it. I pulled both copies because they're both so pretty. This Spellshop. This is by Sarah Beth Durst. The original cover is gorgeous. Here is the, what version is this? This feels like bookish box. Look how lovely that is though. This is about a girl who is working in the library in the capital when fire breaks out because of a revolution. So she grabs as many books as she can along with her sentient spider plant, and off they run to her little island hometown. There she is moderately annoyed by her neighbor who seems to just want to make sure she's like fed and okay and see if she needs help, but whatever. And while she's there, she's like, hey, you know what? Wow, I need money. So she casts a spell to make berries for jam for the bakery. And then she realizes that the island needs a spell shop. So we get there eventually. I am super excited to read this. I've heard it described as cozy cottage core perfection, and it is just everything I want in a book right now. So can't wait. Okay, Inscription. This was also villain origin story material. So I needed an O and Art of Decipher. For this one, I needed a title that has all the letters of my first name. If I was a Kristen with an E-N, this would not have been a problem. I am dying to read Kingdom of the Curse. Did I fit that book anywhere in here? No. Instead, I'm going to be reading The Poisons We Drink. So, K-R-I-S-T-I-N. I did it! I know it doesn't seem that exciting to you. Do you know how many books I had to look at to achieve this? No, you don't. But my husband's calculated I have well over 2,000 books. Well over 2,000 books. That's right. 2,000. Okay, it only takes 1,000 to have a library. I guess he's a gosh darn librarian. So, I will be reading this amazing copy from Fabled Book Box. This is by Bethany Baptiste, and this is pretty interesting. So this is about a girl who already had it kind of rough, all right? She was working on making potions, which is already, like, kind of dangerous in her world to begin with. A, it's illegal, and, like, I don't mean, like, you get a fine. I mean, like, you go to jail for, like, life, or you lose your life kind of thing. But it also has, like, debilitating and miserable consequences for you personally. But then her mom is, you know, accidentally, you know, murdered by a stray bullet. That's bad. When she is given the chance to get revenge from, like, her witcher, I think it was called, like, the head of her coven, she's like, well, I'm watching my sister. I'm already making potions. You know what? Sure. Why not? We're down already. Let's just go. But nothing comes for free. So what does she have to do? She has to brew potions that basically will control the politicians of Washington, D.C. The only thing more dangerous than magic is power. Sure, if magic can control the power, yay. But she winds up in a situation, of course, where she is like, what is magic? What is power? Can I trust anyone? Can I control myself? Can I trust my powers? Can I control the government? Can I trust anything, anywhere, ever? It's one of those. The things I have heard have been good. It's a gorgeous edition. Apparently, the vines glow in the dark. So you know what? Let's do it. And last but not least, you can do the book club book for your guild. And I'm in the Order of the Crescent, like most people in the Readathon. So I said I was basic. Guess I wasn't kidding. So my book for Order of the Crescent is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I hate you so much, Jane. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if you are also doing the Orilium Readathon, if you are joining me in the Order of the Crescent and reading Evocation, or if you are reading any of these other books for your prompts as well. And please like and subscribe if you feel the urge. Otherwise, I will let you go back to your book and I'll be getting back to mine. I'm still finishing books for my August TBR because I thought it'd be smart to start like 6 books at once, because I'm so smart and make such healthy choices. I'll see you guys next time. Please don't judge me. Bye.